Let's take a look at injuries around the NBA. 30 teams, maybe 30 minutes, but one, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce is really just copying the playbook of Megan Gale and Sean Hampson. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnNBA, for a first deposit match up to $100. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. Be a double banger. Hit the thumb up, listen on the audio side, watch the video, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. Apologies for the delay here. Had huge computer problems this morning, so hopefully I'm able to get all the shows out this morning, but we're back on track for now. We hope it stays that way. And just quickly, White Michael Jordan is just checking in to say hi, see how you guys are going, how you guys enjoyed the Super Bowl. Hope everything went well for you on that end. We're here to talk injuries. We're here to look at all 30 teams. We are here to give some updates, and it's a weird time because the All-Star break is coming up, so there's going to be a lot of reevaluated after the breaks. The last game is this Thursday. The next game is the Thursday after. It gives you a week in between, so you're going to get a lot of, probably after the break sort of stuff going on. No more mucking around. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks. They have Clint Capella, who I'm guessing was back after the break. I do believe that there is at least 50% chance that Onyeka Okongwu remains the starter, even when Capella comes back. I'm not saying to drop Capella, but I am saying that I think you might be dropping Capella later on in the season and definitely holding Okongwu. Mo Gay is out. Well, the other Mo Gay, the first Mo Gay, which is actually the second Mo Gay, because he's the younger Mo Gay, is dealing with a back problem that he's had all season. Wes Matthews out with an illness, Patty Mills is doubtful with an illness, and Adrian Griffin Jr. is out with an illness as well. They might be back next game. Don't think we really care because they're not even part of the rotation. The AJ Griffin stuff is wild this season. I know he had some personal issues that he missed some time, but he has played fewer minutes than Garrison Matthews. He's played fewer minutes than Patty Mills. He's played fewer minutes than Trent Forrest this season. I have an understanding of why. I have some of an understanding of it, but for a guy that was one of the youngest players in the NBA last season and I thought was really good, and honestly I thought there was a small chance he might even start this year, a horrid drop-off for him. Boston looks pretty clean. It's just the cashier Xavier Tillman and the package Jaden Springer. They both missed their last game after coming across in a trade with a knee and an ankle injury respectively. There is no indication they are going to be any key parts of the rotation. Tillman might play over Luke Cornett, but that's going to be one that spikes up on days when Horford or Porzingis is out, and you stream him in on those days, and that is really about it. For the Brooklyn Nets at the moment, we just have Cam Johnson on that list. He's got a groin issue. He's had multiple hamstring issues this season. He's had a lot of injuries. It's been really frustrating, obviously. I've got it listed there as the 14th of February. I'm pretty sure he won't play until after the break, though. All we know at the moment is he's been ruled out for Tuesday. I don't think he plays. With him out, it boosts my man Jalen Wilson. It boosts Dennis Schroeder. It boosts Dennis Smith as well. Gives them a couple of extra minutes. The Nets have a back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday as well, so there'll be an opportunity there with no Simmons and likely no Johnson for some bigger performances from some others, but I do think Cam will be back straight after the break. This next team, Now, I have been very, very negative about the Charlotte Hornets all season, and you might say, is that unfair? Absolutely not. It's 100% justified because they've been trash. But I'll say this. New ownership is finally putting their foot down and their stamp on this organization. Mitch Kupchak, I think, has been a pretty bad executive all the way through his time in Charlotte and some of his time in LA for sure. But I did like what he did at the trade deadline. I thought there were some really good moves there. Or at least some solid enough moves, getting a draft pick, moving off some older players, getting some younger guys in, really leaning into a tank, right? I think that's positive. Then the news comes out today that Kupchak is transitioning into a advisory role. They're not firing him, they're just putting him into a higher spot. The new owners seem committed to a better plan than what Michael Jordan had, that's for sure, moving into a situation where they are going to rebuild stuff. They're going to be revamping the entire team because obviously one of the issues that led to Kenny Atkinson not getting this job was allegedly a lack of support staff and no ability to hire your own coaches. So expanding the support staff, expanding the scouting, and I hope, fingers crossed, expanding the injury reporting. Now, all of this, we know that this direction they're heading makes me very, very worried that we do not see Mark Williams again this season. In fact, I'd be very confident that we don't see Mark Williams this season. I don't know how true that is. Mitch Kupchak's like, yeah, we want to see him back out there. No, you don't. You want him to be healthy enough, but you don't want to see him back out there. So I don't think we worry about that. Williams can be jacked off.
Get that garbage out of here.
I don't think we're seeing LaMelo Ball until at least after the All-Star break. If LaMelo Ball appears on the injury report after the All-Star break, I'll say done. I don't know that for sure, but it was soreness. Now the injury report has silently transitioned into tendinopathy. Concerning. Looking into it. We then see if he has these 2 or 3 weeks off for a nebulous injury designation plus a full week of the All-Star break. If he's not back after that, done. I still think that you add Trey Mann now. I think Trey Mann will start even when LaMelo returns. Micic is a little bit more on the fence to me. He was great last game. He was very good. I don't think they want to be like, all right, we're letting 30-year-old rookie Vasily Micic run our show. I don't think they want to do that. He'll have some role there, some minutes, but I would do Mann over Micic. But honestly, we just haven't seen these guys play at all, really, this season. So who knows? And then Ball coming back could completely torpedo that whole scenario. You know what I'm going to say about Mark Williams? Yeah, Nick Richards is the guy that you want to roster, yeah? We know that one. Alex Caruso has popped up on the injury report with a toe issue. You never like to see that with Caruso. Rabbit Hunter has been putting up really big minutes. He's gone over 30 minutes in like 9 of his last 10 games. And the one that he didn't was 29 against the Grizzlies, which was against the Grizzlies. Pat Williams, we think, might be back after the break. I think that might last longer. It's called here foot edema. I wouldn't be shocked if that lasts longer and is a more significant injury that has him out until maybe the season. Don't know about that. That obviously helps the Dosunmu and Drummond scenario. We don't know what they're going to do. Really key indicator for them is going to be against Atlanta today. Do they want Vooch guarding Jalen Johnson? Are they so bought into the 2 center situation that they will do that? Or is it a complete matchup thing where we get Dosunmu getting the big minutes and we just get Drummond when they're going up against the 2 bigs? So there's key things to watch there. You don't need to hold Williams, of course. If Caruso is out, then we do really lean into old mate Ayo Dosunmu. Pretty clean in Cleveland. Tristan Thompson suspended. You had to clarify that because people will be like, bro, this guy? Seriously? Yeah, he's suspended out until the 16th of March, and Dean Wade is dealing with an illness. Dean Wade, advanced metrics this season, through the roof. Unbelievable stuff, his numbers this season. Very low-minute player, able and capable fill-in, and I know there's a lot of credit goes to Donovan Mitchell for what they did with Garland and you're going to say, Josh, what are you going to say? With Garland and Mobley out, like Mitchell carried this team. This bloke was unbelievable in his role. He's not a star at all, but what he did in that role enabled Mitchell and enabled Allen to do the things they did that carried that team through. Anyway, he's sick, so we don't care. Oh, that's a little bit harsh, but you know. Today's episode is brought to you by the old goblins over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 goblin-based fantasy sports app. Also their #1 fantasy sports app in general. With over 3 million members, it is the easiest and the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It is you against the numbers. You go in and you go more than or less than an individual stat projection they put up. You do between 2 to 6 of those and bang, winnings come rolling in. And Demon Time is here. We all know you've suffered through Demon Time. You've sat there, midnight, on your phone going, what can I do? Do I send a you up? Or do I go to look to PrizePicks and check how I can turn $10 into $1,000? Demons and Goblins are the newest and most exciting way to play at PrizePicks. Squares marked with the red demons or the green goblins get you different payouts, and you can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You go in, you select the player and stat type that you're looking at. You just look at what you're doing. You choose more or less. Bang, you're done. You're in. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. The code is LockedOnNBA for that first deposit match up to $100 dues. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. The code is LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Not as easy as sending that risky text during Demon Time, but you know, stuff happens, doesn't it? Let's take a look at the next team. It is the Dallas Mavericks. The only 2 guys on this injury report are the 2 guys who've been on this injury report for a while. It is Derek Lively with the nose. I wouldn't be shocked if him and his old Bitzer stays out until the All-Star break. We will not really fully get an understanding of Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington's role, I don't think, until after the All-Star break as well. Remember, keep this all in your noggins. Through the All-Star break, yes, they love it. They all go to Cancun and they go do whatever they want. They go to Miami, the coaches and all that sort of stuff. But then they get back and they reconvene and they go, all right, so what do we do now? How do we change these lineups? And for me, even from a perspective where I'm not coaching an NBA team, shocker to you, I'm not doing that. I never will. Again, real spoiler. I sit down and I look at every team's projections, how they've been running their rotations, what can change, how do we look at things down the stretch. That's what I do during the All-Star break. But coaches look at it and go, okay, so what do we do now? We've actually got time now to sit and not prepare for the next game, not worry about our travel schedule, not worried about this, not worried about that. What do we actually do to change things? And that's when I think they'll sit down and go, well, does Gafford actually make sense to start? Does Lively start? Does Kleber play? Does Powell play? Where does Washington fit in? What's our ideal rotation? All right, so that's where things will start to crystallize. Anyway, Lively's out. We get an idea on Monday about see what they do with Gafford's minutes, who played 17 in that one. Is he 17 again? That's a worrying sign. We'll find out. And then Exum, man, what a shocking run he's had. He came back, played a couple of games at the end of January after missing most of January with a foot issue. Now he's got a knee issue. And part of the problem with Exum the first time around the NBA is his body couldn't withstand the rigors of the NBA. He went over to Europe where they played a much more reasonable and common sense schedule, and he was great. And now he can't do it again, which again is absolutely no surprise. Yes, speed, athleticism is a part of that as well in the NBA. But the schedule, as you're well aware, I have pretty strong feelings on, does not help in this scenario. For the Nuggets, hamstring cramp legend Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's missed 2 games with it. I'm fine, it's just a cramp injury. He is questionable for Monday. If he is out, they'll start Justin Holiday, and you won't care about that. There's also Maga Porter Jr. on the injury report, where it's probable, and Hunter Tyson is out with a finger issue. So all in all, pretty clean there in Denver. Outside of KCP's definitely fine. Hamstring cramp, that's definitely not anything more serious. It's not a strain, it's only a cramp. We're all good there. He's going to be totally fine. In Detroit, only 2 players out, and they're 2 big ones. Isaiah Stewart and Quentin Grimes. I don't think they'll be back until after the break. Stewart and Grimes, I'd expect, will just be straight into the rotation. Does Stewart start over Fontecchio/Thompson? Because I don't think Muscala's part of it. I think Muscala might actually move out of the lineup for Tuesday and they go with Fontecchio and Thompson as a 3-4. But does Stewart step back in there, or does he fulfill his rightful spot as literally only a backup center? I don't know whether they do or not. We need to see that. And then Grimes, where does he fit? I'm not sure how much 3 Grimes can play. I think he's a 2 who, honestly, he is and was a point guard in college. So I don't think he's a 3. He's a guy that can handle. And that's what always gives me that query about where does he fit? Where does Sasa fit? Everyone's a bloody ball handler in that backcourt. And Grimes can work without being. And while I loved Grimes as an option, hey, I want to see if he gets traded somewhere, I want him to go to a situation where he wasn't going to be playing off-ball behind the 2 stars on the team, and that's Ivy and Cade. So that's a little bit of a concern in terms of his long-term value, as much as I do like him as a player. Those 2 guys being out helps Fontecchio, helps Asar Thompson, less so for Sasa in the short-term situation. The Warriors, pretty clean injuries. It's Chris Paul. We expect him back after the All-Star break. His return will have an impact on Wiggins and Clay, I guess, but also on Brandon Podziemski. At the moment, Podziemski's a must-roster player. He's getting 30 a night. They're benching those other guys because of how good he is. I don't know whether that holds or not. Obviously, there's the 20 minutes of night of Lester Quinones that Paul can take, but I'm not sure that... I don't think Chris was going to be a must-roster player, to be honest, when he comes back, just with the play of those other guys, but we watched that. And then Guy Santos, dealing with a knee issue. He is questionable with him out. I'd guess they'd play Moses Moody, who... He's my new guy. He's my new campaign. Get him to a team where he can play. Houston, a few injuries here. Fred VanVleet with his groin after the All-Star break. We're streaming Amen Thompson there. The delicate dancer Alperen Şengün played 21 minutes against the Raptors. Missed on Saturday with a back issue. He is questionable on Monday. Jeff Green filled in and was okay, but the value really there was in Jabari Smith. I don't think that Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore are going to be back before the All-Star break. Eason with the complications from his leg stress fracture and Whitmore with an ankle problem. It would make sense to just sit them out, especially Eason, through that Monday, Wednesday games and then bring him back after the break. I don't think that Eason is a 12-team league player. Remember, when he was getting those 26 minutes a night, A, he was healthy, and B, Whitmore wasn't playing. Whitmore is playing now, and yeah, he can take some of Jayshawn Tate's 10 minutes, but I don't think there's his 28-minute role there for Eason. For as good as he can be, the leg injury setback and how long it's been makes me think they'll probably ease a little bit on the edge of caution. So I don't think Eason or Whitmore need to be 12-team league players. The Indiana Pacers is the next team that we go to. They keep putting old mate Tyrese Halliburton on the injury report. He keeps playing, but it's annoying they keep putting him there as questionable. So I'll just tell you that he's questionable. There's also Sticks is out with a back issue. Jalen Smith for Monday. Maybe he plays Wednesday, but that means more for Obi Toppin, and it means more for Isaiah Jackson as a streamer, especially for those deeper leagues. There's no guarantee Jackson even plays in the rotation every night, but when Sticks is out, Jackson is in. And then James Johnson, who is the Pacers' Taj Gibson, apparently, he is questionable with an illness. He has been on this team how many times this season? 3 times? They signed him to a contract, they waived him, they brought him on a 10-day that expired, another 10-day that expired, now they've signed him to another rest of the season contract. Never seen a bloke get signed by the same team 4 times in season, not even before the season. 4 times in season for James Johnson. I guess the second 10-day is not technically a... So is it? That's because he can't extend it. They've got to sign a new contract. Yeah, so yeah, 4 times. Wow, crazy. If Halliburton misses, which he won't, Nembhard and obviously TJ McConnell's the guy that we look at there. Clippers, clean. Musa Diabate out with a hand injury. He'll be out till after the break. But honestly, it does not care. I don't care. If he doesn't play another game this season, I would not be shocked with that at all. More injuries there for the Lakers. They did the thing. They said it out loud. We're going to reevaluate Vincent and Reddish after the All-Star break. So it doesn't look like they'll be straight back after the All-Star break, but that's when they're being reevaluated. Gabe's role is probably not there anymore with Spencer Dinwiddie in town, so we don't need to worry about that. And honestly, I'm a little worried about where Reddish fits after Pockets was starting him for an incredible... Go look at Reddish's stats. They're horrific. Speaking of stats, actually, I tweeted this out yesterday. Do you know Kawhi Leonard's shooting 50% from 3 over the last 25 games? And he's at 46% from the season. And normally I'd just be like, there's no way that holds. That is definitely a sell high. But I don't know, man. I don't know. He won't stay at that level. He's not a 50% 3. Nobody is. But what if he is? Oh, no, he's not. But also, what can you sell high on? You're not getting a top 5 player back, so just enjoy it. But yeah, bloody hell, he's dominating. Go look at Reddish's, though. The exact opposite. He's like minus 50% from 3. So yeah, we're not caring too much about that. Jared Vanderbilt's the key one. I still think there's significant risk of an end-of-season injury here. They're being very coy about it. Oh, we'll reevaluate and we hope to get him back. All that's suggesting I don't think so. But I don't know. So Vanderbilt, we've got back around the first week of March. We're not holding him through that time. That boosts Rui Hachimura's minutes just enough so that people edge him onto their teams and go, oh, what am I doing with this guy? Which is exactly the right response you should have to having Rui Hachimura on your team. You shouldn't do it. Max Christie, I must call him Mux. Mux Christie is dealing with an ankle problem. With him out, they just give some of those extra minutes to Hachimura, and Dinwiddie will have to jump into that rotation as well. Skylar Mays was in the rotation for them, but he won't be, I'm guessing, when Dinwiddie arrives, which could be next game. For the Memphis Grizzlies, we've got a million things going on here as per usual. Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart, they originally were supposed to be reevaluated after the All-Star break, and then they just said, actually no timetable. And every article you read about the Grizzlies, there was a good one today in the Commercial Appeal, I think it was, talking about how the rest of their season is not going to be based on wins and losses, and it's about getting wins in development of other players. I've said this the whole way through. The grade 3 designation was weird. The reports of him coming back feel like propaganda, and by propaganda I mean, hey, look, NBA, we're actually trying really hard to get him back. Please don't fine us. He's actually really going to be there, Desmond Bane. He's such a hard worker. Please, he's going to play. That's what that felt like. I don't think there's any chance. I won't say any, but there's no way. I can't. There's no way. Why would he play? There's no point in it. Same with Marcus Smart and his finger. They're like, we've got our core. It's Jaren, it's Ja, it's Bane, and they're very happy with Smart apparently. We don't need to see any more. So expect Jaren to sit out some time coming out soon. I think what they're doing now is just testing Jaren at center and seeing how that works. It doesn't mean you have to drop Bane, but again, you do what you want on that. I don't know for sure. I'm guessing that he does not play. Zaire Williams has had this hand issue for bloody weeks. He just keeps getting listed doubtful, Mark Williams style. I don't care. He's trash as well. Jake LaRavia, his reevaluation date has come and passed. He's been ruled out for Monday. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if both Zaire and Jake get waived this season, just straight up waived, and they just try to cycle in other guys. I think they're bad, and I didn't like Williams coming out of the draft. I like LaRavia. They've both been trash, and I think they might be like, it's a bit time to bite the bullet, hence why just punting on David Roddy, because those picks were bad. They made terrible process choices. They sniffed their own farts too much, and they whiffed badly. Derrick Rose is doubtful. Derrick Rose's pattern is game off game. So he's going to miss this one, then play, then miss, then play, then miss, then play. They also signed Jordan Goodwin to a 10-day deal today. Goodwin is a good fantasy stat stuffer. They are getting close to the max games for Jacob Gilead. The report that I read today said that they want to get, once Gilead hits his 50, that'll happen, and then they'll turn things over to Scottie Pippen. But this was before the Jordan Goodwin scenario. Now, Pippen's been in and out as well. Goodwin is a very interesting guy. I'd be okay to take a flyer if you wanted to. The Pippen thing is, like, if Pippen starts every game, I am rostering him, no problem. But he's not. So when we do find that he is, then I do it. I got no problem if you want to try Goodwin out. I think, like Concha and Gilead and Pippen and Kennard and every one of these guys, it's going to be a big roller coaster, and you shouldn't have long-term expectations on it. Now, I was waiting to record this show because I wanted to hear more about Terry Rozier. Then my computer said, "You want to wait, huh? All right, well, here's a blue screen of death for a bit." And I go, "Oh, cool. I didn't think I was going to get this show out." And we still don't get the update on Terry Rozier, which is annoying. What we did get, though, is Max Christie is also now out through the All-Star break, so that one's happened too. We don't have an update on Terry Rozier's knee. He's getting an MRI today. It did not look good. If he is out for multiple months, I would not be shocked. But I don't know at this point. But what we do know is that Josh Richardson suffered a dislocated shoulder, same injury mechanism that Julius Randle did, but we still don't know the details of Randle's injury, nor do we know the details of Richardson's. He's going to be out, let's say, a month minimum. We're obviously not rostering him, but what this means is we are rostering Duncan Robinson. We are rostering Jimmy Butler's out through the All-Star break as well. We are rostering Robinson. We are rostering Jaime Jaquez, and we are rostering Caleb Martin, and then we get more information on those guys. But I know that they've got a bad schedule, Miami. I know that. But what is important is the Miami Heat play on Tuesday. That is a low volume day. So adding those guys and using them is totally okay. And then you can sit on them on Wednesday where there's 13 games on and you're okay with that. And yes, I know, then they only play one more game, which is a high volume Friday the next week. But these are guys at the back end of your roster. You wouldn't be using the back end of your roster on that Friday anyway. So if we get that long-term injury news on Rozier and Richardson, then there is value that these players might be able to be top 100 long-term. Therefore, you would play them on Friday and you would hold on to them. So I'm not that worried about a 3-game week across the All-Star break, especially when their next game is a low volume quality. Get them in and let's see what this information does. Especially with those 3 guys out, if that happens, right, and Rozier and Richardson are out, Butler's now, this team might not make the play-in, meaning that Butler and his injuries, which happen all the time, means I think his season may end early. James Christian Middleton, ankle problem, out through the All-Star break. All right, Jay Crowder's been starting, don't care. Low volume streamer only, but the thing is the Bucks have the low volume games this week. They play Tuesday, Thursday. So Jay Crowder is actually unbelievably fantasy relevant for the Tuesday, Thursday combo. Middleton should be fine through the All-Star break. We haven't heard anything more to suggest that it's anything longer term. But it's Middleton, man. Anything can happen with that bloke. Anything. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes we need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important that you go and let that out, especially when you're talking to someone that's unbiased in your life, which is what a therapist is. You might be able to talk to your partner about stuff, that's cool. You could talk to your parents or your friends, but they're all going to have, agendas is the wrong word, it sounds negative, but they have thoughts. They have ideas that impact themselves. Therapists aren't about that. They're about providing a sounding board, but providing advice and feedback on this sort of thing to help you cope with issues in the future. Therapy can be different for everyone. You might have bigger problems than, hey, my team just lost the Super Bowl. And shout out to all those guys on viral videos smashing their TV because their team lost the Super Bowl. You guys might want to go see BetterHelp. Or is it actually worth the viral clout to smash your own TV? Seems pretty stupid. It seems like you might need to go see someone and get some stuff off your chest instead of breaking hardware. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. And if you're one of those people who did break your TV, well, I've got a code for you. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, I got sidetracked somewhere in there with these injuries, so we're going a little bit slower. Tell me if you've heard that before. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the only team with 3 quality games over the next or the Week 17 matchup. We've got Jaden McDaniels is questionable with a finger. He is a very clear Jack candidate.
Get that garbage out of here.
Except for the fact they've got 3 quality games. So we want McDaniels to play because we can use him over this time. If he is out, then Kyle Anderson becomes a stream, and so does Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And then Jalen Clark, second-round player, Achilles injury. Not sure he plays at all this season. Now, I created this before everything crashed, and then I was ready to record, and we got news on Dyson Daniels and his knee, and it is not that he's out for one game. Dyson Daniels has suffered an injury to his meniscus, and he will undergo a treatment. Now, they actually just said he's got a torn meniscus, so good for them. They haven't said whether it's going to be a meniscectomy or a meniscus repair. Daniels has had some knee problems in the past, I believe, or maybe I'm wrong. Ankle injury last season. This is, we've delved so much into menisci. This is 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe he pushes forward. Doubt it. 6 to 8 weeks. So the question's going to be is what happens? Well, I just mentioned Zion's listed question with a foot bone bruise. That's cool. They list him on that every back-to-back. This isn't a back-to-back, but it's coming off the back-to-back. He's okay. With that, I'm pretty sure. So losing Daniels, who'd been playing he played 27, 22, 21, 21, 24 in a start in the last 5 games, right? That's interesting. So what does it do? Your immediate reaction is, well, this obviously means more Trey Murphy. And I'm not sure. Maybe it does. I think it gives 2 extra minutes to Herb Jones. I think it probably gives 2 extra minutes to Trey Murphy. But what it does, more likely, is it locks Jose Alvarado in at 21, 22 minutes, who plays a very similar role to Daniels. Pesky defensive guard who can pass. That's what Daniels is. And then it pushes Namua legend Geordie Hawkins, who was playing 2 minutes a night, back into the rotation at 15 to 16 minutes. So I don't think that this is we absolutely have to rush to grab Trey Murphy. If you want to, okay. Right, but I don't think this is those 21 are gone from Dyson, so here's 30 for Trey. I think it's more we'll get a little bit of Hawkins and a little bit of Alvarado into that mix with maybe 2 for Trey. And I think Trey probably needs 33 to be honest. And one of the big usage guys to be out, not the 14% usage of Dyson Daniels, 14 made-up number, but it's got to be pretty close here off the top of my head. What is his actual usage? Someone fact-check me and put it in the comments. Maybe it's not 14. Let's have a guess. Dyson Daniels running at a 16.2 usage this season. Drop it in the comments. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. But that's the big one. Giggity. The Knicks. This is why when I say just be cautious about overreacting to the Knicks. 4 front court players are all out. The Jedi, Anunoby, the double royal Julius Randle. Elbow surgery for Anunoby, shoulder dislocation for Randle. The Knicks aren't giving us huge amounts in terms of the injuries here. They gave us that OG's 3-week reevaluation. Randle's is 2 to 3 weeks, we'll see. I've got them 3rd of March. I wouldn't be shocked if both of those push further into March. You've got Mitchie Robinson, who I've got coming back start of April, but they've been completely coy about that all season. And then there's Isaiah Hartenstein, the stubby, who's dealing with Achilles soreness. I wouldn't be shocked if Hartenstein just sits out until the break and comes back after that. Obviously, we look at Achua, Bogdanovic, Hart, DiVincenzo, all of those guys, even Burks to a lesser degree, get that real bump now. But eventually, the trickle in of those 4 players coming back, less so Robinson, but those 4 players, it's 110 minutes or so of game time that is going to hurt Achua and Hart and DiVincenzo and Bogdanovic, maybe making all of them drops, maybe not a DiVincenzo. So at the moment, we're just flying into, we're not looking at Taj, maybe we look at Jericho Sims. We're pumping it into Precious. We're happy to keep Boyan rolling, but long term, it's not it. The Thunder. The only bloke on their team injured is a bloke who's never played for them. That is Gordon Hayward. He will return after the All-Star break. I do think that Gordon Hayward's return will have an impact on Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is already a drop, in my opinion. Hayward is not really a priority add to me. He's not coming in as a number 2 option. He's not coming in as a 33-minute-a-night player. Maybe he gets there. I think he's sort of a 27-minute-a-night bench guy most games, and then we see how that rolls. But you'll run the Dort, Hayward, Giddey, Wiggins, Joe, Wallace combinations of guys who can play, and they'll sort of mix and match those with their 11-man rotations. The Orlando Magic, they are clean. Absolutely nobody on the injury report. The Philadelphia 76ers are not clean. They have a lot there. The thick hogsman Toby Harris popped up with a hip impingement. He is questionable for Monday. If he is out, then it's Ricky Council time. Legitimately, it's Ricky Council time. Council played 29 minutes last game. People overreacted to that in a huge way. Man, do I add Ricky Council? He played 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 12 minutes the 4 previous games. There's just a lot of guys out. So, no, you don't add Ricky Council because of that. You could consider a Kenjan, a KJ Martin, maybe, but that's just the stream. If Harris is out, though, we look at both of those blokes. I've I've got Anthony Melton saying maybe he's back on the 14th. I don't think that's the case, actually. I think maybe All-Star break. For Melton, we don't really get much in terms of an update there. I've got Embiid coming back the end of March. It's very hard for me to tell you, drop the best player in fantasy or second best, whatever you want to say. Very hard to say to drop him, but I see no scenario that Embiid plays any sort of meaningful part in fantasy season. I don't see that. Nico Batum's hamstring, it's been a long time here with a hamstring soreness. Definitely not soreness, it's a strain. He's pinged it. I think All-Star break for him. Bob Covington, I think, unfortunately might be cooked. We've got him after the All-Star break. They need him now, but he's done. He can't play. And then Mo Bamba's dealing with a knee issue as well. So again, they could just be running a ton of KJ Martin, Lofton, Council, Turk Smith. They're in some real strife at the moment in terms of injuries, but that will ease up as we go further along. The Suns, well, that's pretty good, isn't it? It's just Damo Lee, who hasn't played this season with a meniscus injury. He's out until, I'm guessing, around the start of April, but we don't know. The Blazers, pretty rough injury list here. This is a team that I am very, very convinced is going to shut these guys down 2 to 2.5 weeks before the end of the season. Brogdon's got elbow tendonitis. He's out 2 weeks. I fear that is it for him. I don't know that. But is Brogdon worth holding? Obviously, open IL slots, yes. Brogdon was playing a lot of minutes. Yes. It would be baffling to me, but this is what this team does, that Brogdon comes back from this injury, waltzes back in, all right, boys, I'm here to lead you with 36 a night. Seems unrealistic and stupid. But I don't know. Because they're in a situation now where they've got Simons and Scoot. Now, both Simons and Scoot are on the injury report. Simons missed the last game with an ankle injury. Sterling has missed the last 2 with a foot issue. But they are in a situation where we go, all right, we can actually see what our backcourt looks like. And I don't think they'll be like, all right, Scoot, you've played your 33 a night. Can you just go play 24 a night coming off the bench again? It would seem stupid, yes? So I don't think Brogdon is worth a hold. Shaden Sharp, they said evaluate in at least 6 weeks. Cool, he's done. He's not coming back. Zero chance he comes back. Dwop Reith is questionable with a knee issue. We've been talking about, actually back to Sharp, we've been talking about Sharp saying, I'm not sure he's going to have this value end of season. There's a few too many guys there. I don't really know how it works out. I'm not sure you need to hold him. Well, obviously you don't need to hold him anymore. As for Reith, we would stream him in if and when Ayton's knee tendonitis flares back up. This team is going to be the team of Jabari Walker, Dwop Reith. Honestly, you might even get some Delano Banton mixed in there as well. Banton played 25 minutes last game, 23 for Hagens because all the point guards are out. You're going to get Chris Murray, you're going to get Justin Monet, you're going to get Ryan Rupert, you're going to get Ibu Baji, and it's going to be a day-by-day Grizzlies-type disaster, I'm pretty confident. The Sacramento Kings, 2 ankle injuries to 2 guys who don't really matter. Well, they matter to me, but they don't matter for the fantasy landscape. Sasha Vezenkov and retirement home legend Chris Duarte. Vezenkov is out until... we're looking around the 10th of March, and Duarte out at least until after the All-Star break with an ankle problem. Duarte was playing a big fat 0 minutes, and Vezenkov was playing about 10 minutes. He's been out for quite a while with these ankle injuries, and they'll just give those minutes to a combination of Davion Mitchell, a combination of more minutes for Trey Lyles, more minutes for the Pencil Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. What was I? I was so off there. Just quietly, Barnes has played under 25 minutes in 3 consecutive games after that hot streak. The San Antonio Spurs. It's pretty good. In fact, it's clean. There's nobody there. W. All right, we'll see how long that lasts, but it's good. The Raptors, also pretty clean. All we've got is two-way legend, 5'2" guard Marquise Noel, who's dealing with a hamstring injury. He pinged it in the G League. He's not going to play in the NBA, I'm guessing, although they don't have a backup point guard, so maybe Noel gets a run at things when they fake injure quickly in April. Watch that one. For the Jazz, it's 2 very, very consistently injured players, Bryce Sensabaugh and Otto Porter, although Sensabaugh has just been upgraded to playing. He was questionable. He is now active. He's not in the G League. He's got hip soreness. I want them to just say, Taylor Horton-Tucker's not it, because we know he's not it. Let's play Sensabaugh at the 3, and let's actually rock. Let's see Sensabaugh, Markkanen, Hendricks, Kessler, George, and let's fly. Let's see it go. What a lineup. That'll happen at some point, and you'll froth yourself. Otto Porter, you'll be shocked to know, is questionable with a foot injury. What's the over-under? What's the prize picks, more or less, on Otto Porter playing a single minute for the Utah Jazz this season? It's got to be 0.5, and I'll go less. There's no chance. The Washington Wizards, the only player on there is Isaiah Livers. He was traded in the Marvin Bagley trade, hasn't played a single second. A, because he's bad, but also is dealing with a hip problem. We might get some minutes for him later on. I'd much rather they see what a Patrick Baldwin or a Johnny Davis can do, mainly because I want to see someone shoot 4% from three who's not named Asar Thompson with Johnny Davis out there. And that brings us to the end of the show. We got there. It's under 35 minutes, even with some waffling from me. So go ahead and hit the old subscribe, hit the thumbs up, bang it out. I know you've done it. So again, thank you. Love you guys for doing it. Really big appreciation. Coming this way, we are done here. See if we can get these other shows out in time. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and watching. See ya.